Partner with Planting Positive Seeds nonprofit to help girls locally and globally become the best version of themselves. You can help us by donating to one of our initiatives on our website, www.plantingpositiveseeds.com.
Welcome to Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie, a Planting Positive Seeds podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie here on a Planting Positive Seeds podcast. And I know you always hear me say that. What's that about? Well, Planting Positive Seeds is our nonprofit. And so here at the podcast, we plant positive seeds in the lives of others through the listeners and those who come on, who share their stories so that for you to hear all around the world. And I love bringing my special guests that come here and share their stories and share different nuggets of their lives to be able to help you, to motivate you to move and to motivate you to get into action and take power in your own life, to take back your power. And so on tonight, I'm so excited. Listen, everybody, I'm so excited about our guests on tonight. And so I'm going to read you a portion of his bio, and then we're going to bring him into the show. And so on tonight, ladies and gentlemen, all of the listeners all over, we're going to be talking to John. John has worked as an international NLP trainer, and he's coached thousands of people from various backgrounds through various challenges, from borderline homelessness to very wealthy individuals. He's helped many people to get in touch with their truth and to create a life on their terms. John's search for answers to living a fulfilling life has taken him to work with Native American Indians, to the hills of San Diego, to the forests of Madagascar, to swimming with humpback whales in Tonga, and we're going to talk about that, to exploring the Delta in Botswana, and also the Great Wall of China. He has traveled to Hungary, look at me getting tongue-tied, and Solomon Islands, the mountains of Italy, and the streets of Mexico. Everywhere his journey has taken him, John has discovered a hunger among people to find a new way to live, with the yearning from freedom to expression, his belief that everyone has a book in them to be born. And so, John, I'm so excited to read your bio, but I'm so excited to have you here on tonight. Thank you so much for coming to Inspirational Talks.
Oh, great. Thank you for having me, LaDonna. That was a great introduction. Appreciate it.
Listen, I just loved when I was reading and like we were talking offline, I said I went on your website and I was looking around and I started to look at, everything that you had been doing. And, I was looking at the books, and I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I was looking, everything. But I was just so excited to have you on the show because when we connected, even you had already been listening to Inspirational Talk. So once again, thank you for listening to me. I created this podcast because I wanted to help people to heal and be encouraged, and also to know that they can continue to move in life, even though they've gone through some things, even though we all have a past, but it shouldn't affect our future. And so I wanted to just plant those little seeds to have them to continue to grow, day by day. And so, John, I just want you to take a minute. If there's something that I didn't share with the listeners, I want you to share a little bit more about yourself and your journey.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sure. Well, what a lot of people don't know is actually I didn't learn how to read and write at a basic level until I was 9 years of age. And which was a blessing, which turned out really, really well. And that's really where a lot of my drive, purpose, and mission comes from, is because, I didn't feel that I was able to express myself freely, and I didn't know how to articulate how I was feeling and what was going on inside. And my long story short, a second grade teacher used to, she was so incredible and very benevolent, kind. And I used to take my stories to her. I was in the 3rd or 4th grade, and my writing was like a dog's breakfast. And anyway, she would always encourage me and give me like a scratch and sniff sticker. And she ended up calling my mum up to school. My parents had got divorced, and my mum was, a sole parent, raising 3 children, and she was working a couple of jobs. And she came up to school and found, and just basically was explaining totally what was going on. And then I got tutoring and ended up going to college and starting a landscaping business, and sold that business and moved into coaching, speaking, and now writing and publishing books.
Wow. Look at the transformational journey just of your own, being able to, where you started from. You said 9 years old, not being able to read or write, but having that teacher to, step in your life and encourage you that, this is not how things have to continue to be, and, with your mom and your family. And so, I'm so excited that, the journey that you've been on. I know most of the time when we're walking through these journeys, I don't want to ever paint the picture that it's easy, but we're glad that we're on the other side and that we can share our stories to help those that may just be beginning, that's just at that start or just at that break of, trying to push through whatever life has dealt them, the hand that it has dealt them. And so I really appreciate you bringing your expertise. Here I was, reading all of the places that you've been, Thailand and, different places that, that you are. And I'm just so glad again that you could stop through here at Inspirational Talks, because we're constantly moving, creating and impacting the lives of other people. And so I'm so glad.
I think sometimes, LaDonna, that, you read someone's bio and you see all the, you listen to all the different accomplishments that they've done, and you don't realize, the background, the transformation that they've actually had to do and go through to get where they are today. And so I feel it's important to also give you a bit of backstory of the challenges that I went through to be where I am today. I didn't all of a sudden just click my fingers and live an international life where I travel around the globe, publishing books and the rest of it, and coaching people, and running NLP trainings in Southeast Asia and all the rest of it. I had very humble beginnings. And so it doesn't matter what you're going through right now, you can turn your adversity, you can turn your worst day into your best day. There is a gift in your challenges.
Ooh, yes. Thank you for sharing that. Because here on, Inspirational Talks, I always ask my guests about, share a time when you had to overcome an obstacle, because I know the audience of my life, even my life, that I share constantly on this show, because I always tell people I never know when someone's going to be listening that need to hear a piece of my story, but to hear your story. And so just moving into that, I want to ask you, John, to share a time when you had to overcome, an obstacle in your life.
Oh, there's been so many. Well, I remember, I feel you don't want a life without challenges. Challenges are here to serve us and to help us grow. And I feel that if you have the mindset, the mindset that obstacles aren't in the way, they're on the way. They're here to support us to grow and be a better version of ourselves. And I feel that helps when you have a goal or you have an intention that you want to create or manifest something, that challenges are actually a sign. They're basically a positive in a lot of ways. That's what I see them as. And so one of the obstacles that I overcame was in publishing the first book in the Journey of Riches series. We published over 33 books in the series to date, over 400
Wow.
author collaborations from more than 40 different countries. And so it's an international series, and each book, does quite well. It's a #1 international bestseller in multiple countries. And the first book was such a challenge to launch. And I remember I had a whole bunch of different promotional partners, and of course all the authors were sharing the link. And I remember the link wasn't working, and so here we are sending it out to our list, and subscribers are coming back and saying it's not working, and so it was a bit of a nightmare. And I was stressed out, and I was trying to contact Amazon and liaise with everyone, and just getting myself stressed out. And I decided, it was late in the afternoon. I was living in Bali at the time, in Indonesia, and I went down to the beach. I decided just to chill, meditate. I meditated for 20 minutes, opened my eyes, and there was like a beautiful sunset. I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go home, have a meal, get an early night's rest, and then in the morning I'll email everyone and let them know that, the link hasn't worked for whatever reason. The launch has been a failure. I woke up in the morning and just something made me decide, well, you know what, just go and check the rankings. And I checked the rankings, and we're #1 in the US, Australia, and Canada. So I reached out to everyone, and it wasn't to let them know that we failed, but that we're an outstanding success, and we had over 2,000 downloads. And so the link eventually worked, and I'm not really sure what happened. And I actually swore to some friends and a mentor group I was a part of that I would never publish another book. But the universe just has a funny way, of not letting these ideas go. And I kept getting little reminders, and friends reaching out to me and saying, hey, that book was great. Are you going to launch another one? And so, here we are now. We're about to launch the 34th book in the series, Creating Resilience. And I've just released a book with one other author, Annette, and it's called Be Your Own Miracle. And it's just filled with, it's just filled with wisdoms of how you can be resourceful, and what sort of strategies and stories are you telling yourself. Are you telling your stories that are empowering yourself, or are they, putting you in the pit, so to speak? And being mindful of your self-talk. And so basically it's a book, just me and Annette sharing different aspects of our transformation, or what we did, what tools of transformation we used to move through it and be on purpose.
Wow. Oh, John, this is so great. I mean, I know, sharing that it was rocky in the beginning, and, you're trying to get the book out, you're, trying to make sure everybody is excited, and they're putting and they're promoting it, and then, the link doesn't work. And so that, that anxiety, like, oh my goodness, this can't be happening. But because you really want it to be a success, and it's out. But wow, 200 downloads, and
2,000.
people 2,000. Oh, thank you. 2,000 downloads, and people were, out there waiting on it and grabbing it to go and get it. And I just love the titles, and I love that it's all about personal development. And I'm a big person. I'm a personal development coach. I'm a big person who wants to help people to, like you said, the narrative of what they say. I remember in maybe 2 or 3 years ago, God had given me a change the narrative was one of the things that he kept telling me. And I kept saying that when I was talking to other people, because like you said, what is our self-talk? What are we saying to ourselves? Is what we're saying, is it motivating us to be our best self? Or like you said, is it putting us in our pit? And so I love that the whole series of these books, and I was reading the titles and I wrote them all down. I was like falling in love with them, like tapping into your courage, in search of happiness, liberating your struggles, stories to boost motivation, building your dreams. And I just was falling in love with each one of the titles, because I know that I was put on this earth to encourage and impact and empower. And that was one of the reasons for me that I struggled when I was younger, because I was just as bubbly as I am now. I love how you said you love my energy, but this is me. Like this is what I want other people to see. Not that I don't have any bad days, or not that I don't, question some things, but I always find a way to get to where I need to go. I've been ambitious. I've been focused. I've been on this journey of saying, let's make it work. And so I love the titles of the books that you have, and even, the ones that you're coming out with and about to release, Creating Resilience and Be Your Own Miracle, because people do need that practical sense of, how can I help me to move forward? Not always looking out around what others can do, but how can I help myself to be my own miracle? How can I help myself to continue to be empowered, to follow my dream, and to do what I've been created to do? And so, John, I am just so excited about the whole journey of riches. And I know I'm going to get me a copy, because I just need to tap into some of this energy and the words and the stories that your co-authors, have written, so that we can help to continue to push forward. So I was excited about that. I want to ask you, John, about what are some other things that may have inspired you to travel this journey and to do what you're doing now?
Okay, I think my own challenges. I went through emotional, physical, and sexual abuse from the ages of 4 to 10, and I feel that as bad or as horrific as that may sound, and especially with the details, I feel it's very easy to get stuck in victimhood. And I was in victimhood for a period of time, and I lost my first landscaping company. I had a landscaping company. We had council contracts. We did Olympic game contracts and things like that. That was for the 2000 Sydney Olympics. And so we did a lot of different parks, and business was just booming. And the pressure just got a little bit too much, and I wasn't owning the different traumas that I went through and, the abuse, I was just sweeping underneath the mat and not wanting to face it. I was disowning it. And anything that we disown of ourselves is basically we're not loving it. And what I found was it was almost like I built a brick wall around that part of myself. And just because I thought, well, it doesn't matter, I can just go on and, have a successful business and generate income and employ people and keep going, and I started to burn out, and it just came back to, well, I was, not owning up to my past. I was just ignoring it, and I built a brick wall around it. Was starting to rot inside and seep through the cracks. And, I developed a drug addiction, a cocaine habit, and I essentially lost the company. And I lost everything, but I didn't completely lose myself, my own humanness, my beingness. And I just started from scratch. And it was learning about, why I was doing what I was doing. Why did I self-sabotage that amazing opportunity and company? And it took me about 4 to 5 years to rebuild my confidence to the old level that I was at. And I had another landscaping company, and I ended up selling that. It was like landscaping and garden maintenance and design, and had quite a client base and did quite well, and sold that and moved into coaching and speaking. It was really at that time, back in 2010, when I sold the business, that I really started to commit to personal development and my own personal growth and journey. And I was like, wow, the different realizations and transformations that I had, I need to pass this on to other people. There's other people that were hurting like me, that are, dying inside, or, they have a pain in the heart, emotionally they feel down. I don't know why. And so I wanted to help others and elevate them. So I did all these different personal development programs and courses, and one of the programs I did was a Hay House cruise with all the different Hay House authors. This was back in 2011. So we left from Fort Lauderdale and went all the way through the Caribbean. It was only Hay House people, and there was different workshops. And one of the workshop that I did was the writing workshop. So I had Cheryl Richardson, Reed Tracy, Wayne Dyer. So I got to meet. I've followed Wayne around the world actually, and listened to him speak. And he was just phenomenal, just an amazing human being. Was very instrumental in my transformation and leaning on kindness as a paradigm and a way of living and the importance of it. And so that was really, those events inspired me. And I thought, I'll write a book. And so first book was Coach Yourself Through It. And I had the manuscript. I actually spoke the first book and I was going to get it transcribed. And so the manuscript was on a dictaphone. And I'd been to a Toastmasters contest and I came home late one evening and I walked up the stairs and I realized I left my dictaphone in my pickup. And I thought, it'll be right. I'll just go down and get it in the morning. And I went down in the morning, there was glass all over the road and someone had broken into my pickup and taken everything, including the dictaphone. Wow. So I lost my manuscript and my coaching practice was thriving at the time. It was all based on the NLP principles. This is before I became an international trainer. And I was teaching also just one day a week at Mission Australia, which is helping people who are borderline homeless and in crisis situations. And so I started to, and I wasn't privy on computers because I had a landscaping background. So I had a laptop, and my sister actually, God love her, for Christmas, she bought me like a learn how to type. Because I was a one-finger typer. Like my friend came over one day. Yeah, so she brought me this program and it teaches you how to type with the keys and stuff like that. It's actually quite effective. And because my friend was saying to me, it's going to take you 10 years to write this book because I was just using one finger. But I'm persistent. I am so persistent. Yeah. I think that's one thing I've gotten from my adversities, LaDonna, is determination. Just persistence. Once I get a hold of a vision or an idea, I don't quit. I don't quit on myself. And I feel, when you go through it, traumas and adversity, it forges character. It's so easy to look at the negative side of things, but there's also a flip side of the coin. There's just as many, if not more, traits that you got from that very experience. So really, rather than hating on that person or wish that thing never happened, or if your parents were different then you would be okay, it's like, no, send them blessings, send them gifts, because they've forged your character. They've helped you be the determined person that you are today. And that's certainly been my case. And that's what the film is about, adversity. And it's got Michael Bernard Beckwith, Jack Canfield, Dr. John DeMartini, and so many others. And it's about that. It's about, okay, you went through some really bad experiences, but what's the benefit of those? What was the gift in those situations that's helping you today? And maybe you're not even aware of it because you're just doing it naturally. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so the second book was the second book, I was typing on the keyboard and, I didn't save it properly, LaDonna, and I lost that. My computer crashed, and I don't know, I did something. I was still very new with computers. This is back in 2012, and I lost that manuscript as well. And so, I just thought, I'm not meant to write a book. Every time I go to do something, it just turns into a failure. And I just thought, and I was focused, the opportunity came to run NLP trainings. I just thought, I'll focus on that for the time being. And, see what happens with this book. Maybe it's just now's not the time, so I kind of gave up on it, which I don't normally do, but it's just like, I'll just focus on this training opportunity. So I moved to Bali. It was a US company that was setting up in Southeast Asia, and their office was in Ubud, which is a beautiful part it's in the tropical jungle. It's just magical. We're running trainings mostly in Singapore. So it was an amazing opportunity. And then that contract finished. It was like a 3-month contract, and I got an extension for another 3 months. Then they offered me another extension. I just thought, what? I got my coaching practice. It was face-to-face in Sydney. And I met this mentor, and she said she would help me move it online, and so I could go back to my coaching. And so I did that. And she, you know what she said? She goes, rather it just be a coaching program. This was back in 2013. So we're running, this is before Zoom. So we're running coaching sessions on Skype, and the Wi-Fi wasn't so great in Bali back then. So I'd have to go to like internet places and like, you know, a room full of computers and things like that. It was an adventure. And she said, well, rather it be a 6-month coaching program, why don't you have a book as part of it? And so the clients come on board and they share their stories and et cetera, et cetera. And that's how the series was started. And so, yeah.
Wow. Listen, that was just so powerful. You know, everything that you shared, just from the determination and, you know, like you said, starting at your story, going through what you had gone through, the different types of abuse and trauma. And I love what you said is, you know, even though, you know, you have to own it, and you have to own it. And like you said, you're not loving it if you don't own it. And I know for myself, many times the things that I've gone through on the show, I always tell everybody I'm a 26-year survivor of attempted suicide. I tried to attempt suicide at the age of 14 just because I didn't feel loved, because who I am today is who I knew that I was when I was younger, but I just didn't feel like nobody was really pouring into me. But at the point, like you said, I love what you said about, you know, you have to look back and you have to be thankful and grateful, because what I say to make it through those days and through those years is that I made it through. Like, I'm no longer there. I'm no longer where I was, you know, and it did build my character, and it did help me to, you know, become this international multi-award winning author. It helped me to go to different places and not just be at the place that I am. So I love how you have to use what you have to get to where you want to be and not allow it to be a stumbling block. Just for the talk of you rebuilding your confidence. And I know that it takes time, because whenever you're going through different things, like you said, something could trigger, you know, if you're just having a day, you know, at work or wherever you are. But taking those times, I love that you took the time to do the work, and you took the time to go to the classes and the workshops, and, you know, if there was therapy or whatever, you took the time to rebuild you so that you could, you know, stand tall like you're doing today and helping all these people and all around the world. And so the benefit is you understood, you know, that you were made for so much more. And the companies that you have to, you know, that failure shouldn't be the end all be all, but that failure put you back on track to say, okay, that business failed, this one may have failed, but now I'm doing this, and now it's going to grow, and it's going to, you know, reach other people. And I have I've learned and I've transformed over the years. So many nuggets, John. I'm over here getting excited. I'm writing down notes because I love the personal development piece of it. Just really, it gets me. And that's like whenever I'm anywhere, you know, I love encouraging people, because sometimes people get stuck thinking this is it, you know. And so I know your clients and the authors of the book, they have a real sense of pride, and that their story gets to be told, and they're international, you know, bestsellers, and people around the world are reading their words so that they can encourage other people that they've never seen. And so thank you so much for just sharing this. I want you to talk a little bit about the new books, because I know you have these upcoming projects that are coming up. And then I want you to share with us, because this has been a great conversation, just, you know, your final thoughts of whatever you want to share with us, because I have really, really enjoyed just speaking with you for this short period of time. And I know the listeners here at Inspirational Talks, I know they're gleaning. I know that they're listening. They come on every week to listen to. I see the numbers, I see the places. And so I know today, this interview, they're going to be taking away the nuggets that you're sharing with us. So just talk to us a little bit about the book. You can share, you know, some of your titles, your upcoming books, and some of your final thoughts.
Okay, great. So we just launched Be Your Own Miracle, And so it's number 1 in the US, Australia, and the UK. And so that's available on Amazon. We're launching Journey of Riches, Creating Resilience, 30th of November. And so that's just over a week away. And so that's very exciting. So doing a lot of things behind the scenes to ramp that up and get that out there. And we have another book in the Journey of Riches series called Living the Paradigm of Kindness, and that's coming out in January. Ooh. So that will be towards the end of January. So that's very exciting as well. And we have all the books, authors are from all over the world. Then we're publishing also another book series. It's called Women of Wisdom. We've also launched our 1 book in the series, and the second book is hopefully coming out before Christmas, and it's Women of Wisdom, Queen Bees, and it's all about women owning that matriarchal gifts, innate, that are really very evident in women, intuition and being the mother, the mother, and juggling many different plates and responsibilities. And so very excited to get that book out there as well. And then we're at the end stages of a film, The Gift in Adversity. And so it's got Jack Canfield, Michael Bernard Beckwith, Dr. John D. Martini. We're creating the beta version. So that would be like an in-house release just for the people that are in the film and a select group of beta watchers. And we'll be refining it and looking to launch that early next year. So that's what we've got in the works that we're working on, with a few other projects as well. Yeah, Power of Transformation is a book that I'm writing with 1 other author. And also the New Paradigm, was it the Spirit for Leadership? That's also a book with me and 1 other author. So yeah, I've got like about 11 books that I'm working on, either as a writer or a publisher. So,
oh wow, you are busy. You are busy.
Yeah, I've got to just Well, just take, when you're just consistent, you just take it step by step. I'm sure you know this with your own, clients. And if you break it down, it's so much easier. If you look at it like, oh my God, it's like a book, then it can be overwhelming. But if you look at it, well, I just need to do this today and get that done, and then have the next task to do the next day, and so on and so forth. And you just, tick them off, and before you know it, it's done.
Yes, I surely know how you feel and what you're saying, because I myself am an author of 13 books that I've self-published, and I've co-authored maybe I want to say about 15. I think I've stopped counting. I'm going to get that accurate number. But I understand, and I even said next year I want to do some more. But I have been taking a break to do some other things. I really want to build up, Planting Positive Seeds and some other things I want to step into. But congratulations on all of your upcoming books, on your movie, the film that you all have coming out. I know that I'm going to continue to stay connected and locked into what you have coming out, because I've always loved great resources. To be able to share with others, this is the place where people come to hear, something that they can apply to their life, these practical things to transform into their best self. I love just everything that you said on tonight, and through the things that you had to overcome to the great things that you have accomplished. And I love that you are, you and your company and the people who co-authors, we give kudos to them sharing their life, sharing their stories, and just helping others to become their own miracles and to share their stories and shine their light around the world. And John, I'm just so excited. So any final thoughts that you would like to share with the listeners of Inspirational Talks? It's your time.
Okay, great. Yeah, I would just be, have like a vision. There is just a silent, sometimes it begins with a silent whisper of like, you need to be doing more. And I just encourage you to go out and follow and just listen to that whisper more. Maybe it's having some quiet time. Maybe it's getting up half an hour earlier and just being still with yourself until that whisper becomes louder and louder. And you'll just start to see in your environment different signs and things, and you'll just know that this is for you. Maybe it's a course, maybe it's a program, maybe it's, you've always wanted to be a yoga teacher, but you just never felt, that you had it would talk, or whatever it is. Just being in tune with your environment, and your environment will show you your next step. And I find, for me, it starts from stillness. And I get up every morning at 5 a.m. and I just be still with myself, and just to tap in what feels alive. What would I like to have more aliveness in? I feel it's so easy to focus on what's missing in our life rather than all the amazingness that we already have. And so I make it a practice to do that every day, and just to tap into what really feels alive, what can I improve, and if there are things that I'm feeling missing, then actually speak it into existence as if it's already here.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, John. I just also want to give a shout out to your sister, to thank her for buying you that program.
Yeah.
These books, that type these books. Thank you so much, sis. You did a great job. Yep. Oh, it's been so wonderful. I just thank you again for coming to Inspirational Talks. I thank you again for sharing your story. Congratulations for everything that you have accomplished and those things that you have coming up. Always know that you're welcome here at Inspirational Talks, and thank you so much for connecting with us.
Super. And if you ever get a chance, please go to the Kingdom of Tonga. It's one of only 2 countries in the world where you can swim with humpback whales.
Oh yeah, I love that. I will definitely put that on my bucket list of things to do. I want to travel the world too. I want to travel the world and be out there and see some sights and impact some lives in other countries. So thank you, John, for all that you do. All right. Well,
thanks
everyone, you're so welcome. Everyone, be sure to join us every Monday at 6:30 Central and 7:30 Eastern. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you for listening.
I have gained so many valuable lessons from my experiences. In writing Things I Wish I Knew, Letters to My Little Sisters is a collection of heartfelt conversations with young girls and young adults all over the world, helping them to be prepared for things ahead.
This has been another purpose-packed episode of Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie, a Planting Positive Seeds podcast. Please remember to like, share, and tell your friends about the podcast. Stay tuned for many more Inspirational Talks with LaDonna Marie.